Hello, guys of United Rock Nations. We are an amazing company with Olaf of the band Enforcer. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So we are here,
That's
of
very
course,
nice to hear.
to talk about the new album Nostalgia. So it will be released in May.
Yeah.
How is your feeling about this new album?
My feeling is always great when it comes to new albums, but I'm just curious to see what people will think about it. That's that's what eventually determines how satisfied I am with something. I mean, I'm really happy with the music, and I hope we can get some good reactions.
So I have a first reaction for you. It's my reaction about this new album. Listening to the songs, I have the feeling that they sound really true heavy metal, more than the previous one, probably. Tell us more about that.
The musical I don't know. The previous album was more of an experimental album. I think somehow I wouldn't say it that much, but we channeled a lot of, I think we had like an all in everything works attitude, It was like, yeah, let's try these extreme choirs, like let's try this synthesizer sound. Let's do synthesizer solos all over the album. It was like it was a good time also, you were really, I think that we were really limitless, but this time I think that we're perhaps a little bit more true to the genre. Even though I think I think we all also like managed to do something that is like that's still unique
Mhm.
and still an original, like an original touch. I mean, for me, making music, making heavy metal, for me is like it's always a balance between being original enough not to be generic, but also unpredictable. And for me, it's not an option to just try to copy other bands. I always want to like bring something of myself into it instead of just like then this would be just like a generic tribute band, but I don't see Enforcer as a tribute band. I see it as we're taking heavy metal into the future.
Yes, of course you have your identity,
Yeah, yeah,
but of course you have also some influences.
yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
So we know that you recorded and mixed the new album in the analog process.
Yeah,
Tell us more about this choice.
I think that we have actively chosen not to sound like other contemporary metal bands in a lot of ways. There are, for example, there are no drum triggers, there are no drum quantizations, there's no auto tune on the vocals, there's just like pure recording, like there's just like there's so much effort into the recording in a traditional way. We track the drums on tape, and then we track the rest like in in a different fashion. But I mean, this is we just, I mean, honestly, I think that so much has gone lost in music today. And for me, I can't even listen to something that is modern, because I recognize they all have the same drum samples, they have the same guitar IRs.
Mm.
It's flat and it's boring, and everything is just like, it sounds like AI, like composed music to me. I mean, and sorry everybody, but I mean, everyone is doing this except for us. All the big bands use like so boring production, and they are really losing their own identity in it. And I think that we want, or we need to be the exact opposite of that. We need to be the band who plays organic, where you can feel what you hear. You can hear that my voice is not perfect all the time. And you can hear that the drums aren't like on the grid all the time, but you can feel the joy and the energy in each individual track. And I think that's something that is really important to keep in mind to keep your music alive.
Absolutely. The old bands on the 70s recorded like that.
Yeah, and that's what we do too, and that's because that's how I think that you do music, but it doesn't it doesn't mean that we don't put a lot of energy in it. We put extremely a lot energy into it. It's like it's not supposed to sound modern, but it's not supposed to sound bad either. It's supposed to sound like the best sounding album of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. That's what it's meant to be. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love a lot. There's the guitar solos are
Yeah.
amazing on this album.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very speed. Tell us more about the writing process when you created and wrote them.
I think that there's a lot of, yeah, where I can write a book on this to start. So where do I even start? No, but I think about guitar solos not only as being solos on top of music. I see guitar solos as being a composition together with the music. So when I write a guitar solo, I write also the chords in the background, and always have like in mind that they have to go together to create melodic lines that works with. I always have the melody and the chord in my head when I compose solos, and it could be a lot of things that I try to achieve, but eventually you want to make a composition, something that perhaps is more similar to a classical or baroque like piece of music when I get the chance to do a solo. It's more that everything should be like like woven into each other, and you should have like a line on the guitar, and then perhaps and like a B phrase in the or like a counter point in the music, and it's really important, I think, and always think about the phrases, how to keep the phrases simple, and then this next phrase to work against the first phrase. And yeah, it's a lot of those things that I use when I'm composing not only guitar solos but also music. You know, that's a lot of the tools that I like embrace myself with when I'm writing stuff. Yeah.
And do you play with different guitars or just one?
Yeah, I have
only one guitar.
I played with a few different guitars. I think I can't really remember. I think it's recorded with 3 different Stratocasters. Yeah.
Stratocaster, okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the title of Nostalgia, the title of the album, because is that a way to say that before it was better?
I think the title should. I think it's a title that everybody could relate to somehow. Everybody has been feeling nostalgic at some point of your life, but what it means to me is that you know, sooner or later you realize that you're not going to live forever, and that you see that everything that you used to know around you slowly withers and dies, and nothing is forever, and that we all going to meet the same fate one day, which is our atoms of our bodies and our entire everything that we know is going to go into nothingness and become nothing in space. And that's how I see the title, looking back on everything that was, and the future that is that you can't run away from.
Okay, so let's talk about the lineup, because we know that Tobias is not anymore in the band.
Yeah.
What are the reasons why he left the band?
I think he just got less and less motivated and wanted to do other things, and he didn't want to pull us back. So it was not a mutual decision. We never wanted him to leave, but at the same time, we had to accept that he wanted to do different things in his life.
So no problem in the band?
No. We have a very good vibe in the band, and we've been having a very good vibe in the band for the past 12, 13 years. We fought in the beginning about different things, but like we're very like relaxed with each other, and we're eventually we're a group of people who are out to have a good time, and that's, you know.
Okay, great. So let's talk about some songs. I selected two
Yeah,
songs that I want to talk about on
yeah,
this new album. I love a lot the ballad Nostalgia. It's
yeah.
tell us more about that song.
Oh, um, yeah. Where should I start? The music or the lyrics or
Both.
concept? I think this song started. I can say that it was one of the last songs. The absolute last song that we recorded was "Coming Alive," but
Okay.
the last song before that was "Nostalgia." I think that most of the songs were done, and this was the last thing. And I was kind of missing something from the album because the album was a bit one-sided. I thought it was a lot of like so I think the album needed something, some contrast,
Mm.
something that was different, something that was like had a different tonality or a different tempos or just a more, a more, because most of the album is really, it's straightforward rockers. I was, when we, and that was really the goal when we made the album, was to make like 3 minutes hit songs, like all the way through. But when we recorded everything, I felt that, oh, we should really make something that is like, that is that is a little bit more heartfelt perhaps. And so I had this idea. I'm just having in my mind for years that I wanted to write about, you know the emotional or like feeling of nostalgia, because I think it's a very strong feeling. So I had that in mind, and I was like just talking to a friend about that, and it's like I was reminded about that idea that I had in my mind for years, and I was like, oh, that could be a really cool chorus. And I started to like like come up with a chorus in my head, like building up that, just humming that, that's how I think you make good music. It's not written on the guitar, but good music is written in the brain. um, so I just starting to hum this and fantasize about like grandiose production, and then I got back to the guitar and I was like, nostalgia. So I had the chorus, and then I was in Greece for work when I came up with that, and then I brought that back home to my brother, and I presented this idea, and we were both like, oh, let's put this together with this like neoclassical like part that we had since before, which is the intro. We that melody, it's very baroque, I think. And because we wrote that, or Jonas wrote that for our previous album as an for Zenith, for as an instrumental song. But we scrapped it because it didn't really turn out the way we saw it back then. So we saved it, and now we took this up again as like, yeah, you could probably sing over these. You can find some great vocal lines. So we put that together with this like grandiose ending that I had in my mind, and all of a sudden, in like 2 hours, we had the full song.
It's a great song. I love a lot this ballad.
Thanks. Yeah.
I love another song. It's Heartbeats.
Yeah.
But what I love on this song is the progression, because it
Yeah.
begins very calm, and then it grows
Yeah.
more. So
Yeah.
tell us more about that song.
Oof. I think that when I started to write that song, I had in mind that I wanted to do something like, I really love an old song of ours that is called Below the Slumber. And I wanted to do something that was like that, but that perhaps had a little bit more snappy chorus. And it's a funny story. So this is like, we were on tour with Municipal Waste in 2019, and everybody on the entire tour, Municipal Waste and Skeletal Remains and Toxic Holocaust. And you would think about this, that, oh wow, that's going to be like a brutal death metal tour. But no, everybody listened to AOR, FM rock, and like melodic pop rock music, like throughout the entire tour. That was the only thing that all of us were listening to. screaming along to Kansas and stuff like that, so we really found like a common thing there. So we started to play around with the idea and come up with funny song titles who could be, and then Jonathan, our guitar player, came up with this song title where that he called "This Is Not My Last Heartbreak," which is it's super AOR about love. So I took the guitar when I got back home and I was like, heartbreak, my last heartbreak. And I wrote that chorus, but then it was meant to be like a melodic rock song. But I liked it so much, and I was like, maybe I can use this, change a few things in it, and can make it a little bit, more towards Below the Slumber, like a song that I like. And I was like, but it should also sound a little bit like Dio, and it should also sound a little bit like Whitesnake. So I was like, chip, put the pieces together, and I changed the lyrics in the chorus from "This Is Not My Last Heartbreak" to "Heartbeats." Can you feel the pounding heartbeats when you lay awake at night? Because it has almost like a similar lyrical concept as Below the Slumber, just because I like that song so much.
Great, fantastic.
So that's some behind the song ideas. Yeah,
great story. So the previous studio album had a Spanish version.
Yeah.
Do you plan to do the same with Nostalgia?
No, that was for fun, and we did it then. But it was really fun. But it was also a little bit of gambling. I was hoping that maybe this could get viral in Latin America, really viral. So it was a gambling.
And it didn't work.
Well, people loved it, and they appreciated the gesture, but it wasn't successful enough for me to put so much energy into it again. So we just did this one song, Metal Supremacia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's talk about touring. We don't have any information about the European tour. Do you plan to do something this year, for example?
Yeah. First of all, we're going to focus on summer festivals. So there's coming quite a few summer festivals coming up, and then we might have a small tour together with 3 other half-known bands that we might do in the fall. It's not announced yet, but most likely we will do something like that in Europe, and we'll see from there. Just gonna see where everything lands and see how this album is received, I guess.
Absolutely. You will come in France also, or not?
Yeah, we just announced that we're gonna play Hellfest.
Yes, I know.
On Saturday, and then we also play a small French festival outside of Paris in the end of May. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it's called, but it was an underground event, but it was still a lot of cool bands on it.
Okay, great, fantastic. So thank you very much, Olof, for all these information about the new album. We hope you the best. We love a lot this new album, of course.
Thank you. It's
a great heavy metal album, and we hope you, of course, to see you in France, and of course we will be there at the Hellfest to see you.
Thank you. See you there.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Ha ha ha!